Hello everyone. Here are 3 more horrifying deep web stories. As far as I know, these stories are true. Before I start this, I want to thank Unit 522 for collaborating with me. There is a link to his channel in the description below. Go and check him out. Let's start.
I didn't know what had me fooling around with illegal stuff like the deep web, but I heard it was a place where you could find stuff that the normal internet didn't have, and I asked my tech-savvy friend how I could access the deep web. He wrote down some instructions, and after a while, I decided it was time to go home. When I got home, I looked at the card that he wrote the instructions on. It said I needed a web browser called Tor. Needless to say, I got the search engine and read on. Next, I needed to find a page called Hidden Wiki. After searching for a while, I finally found it. In the Hidden Wiki, links are given without name or description. The only way to find out what's inside is to click on it. After numerous sites I found with child porn, drugs, or hitman for hire, I came across a link that I have yet to explore. I clicked on it to see a video, and I pressed play. I saw nothing but a wall. I stared at it for a few minutes and was just about to exit when I saw something emerging through the wall. I waited and watched longer, and I discovered that it was a man with a mask. "Hey there," he said. At this point, I thought this was a prank video, so I just kept watching. After a while of just staring at the screen, he spoke again. "Aren't you going to speak?" he asked. I proceeded to type on the keyboard. "No, not on the keyboard. Speak," he said. At this point, I was a bit frightened. "Who are you?" I asked. "I'm your friend," he proceeded to say. At this point, I'm scared, and my face filled with terror. I began showing my fright. "Come on, friend. Don't give me that scared face," he said. This is when I got extremely frightened. "Just 1 second, friend. I'll get your address so we can talk in real life." Then he proceeded to type on his computer. Frantically, I tried to close the window down and get out of the video. "That won't work," he said. Before he had time to track my address, I got a screwdriver and removed the back and battery from my laptop. It's been some time since that happened, and he hasn't come to see me. I don't think he had enough time to track my address. Or did he?
Before I start this, I would like to stress the fact that the deep web is a true and dangerous part of the internet. Many illegal items and services may be performed there. The deep web does not appear in normal Google, and it is only accessible through specific search engines, which I will not disclose. You have been formally warned not to access it, or do so at your own risk. It was just a normal day. Our company was made to make house calls to customers who had problems with their computers. My job was mainly dealing with people who I swore didn't know the simplest thing about computers. Regardless, it was my job to inspect and fix the issue. That night, I had a huge list of people waiting to get their computers repaired. The next on the list was a business that couldn't bring their computers online. I was requested by the owner to come check it out as soon as possible. I got into my car and headed to his place. Since it was a business, I figured there might be something wrong with a network cable, or someone installed a Torgen hose by accident. I finished the drive there and entered the building. When I reached the building, the owner directed me to a computer. He said it wouldn't get online. He then continued to rant about how Microsoft Windows is horrible and other things until I pulled out my laptop to see what the problem was. I tried accessing Google on the computer. It said the URL was invalid. Since I know Google was a real website, there must be something wrong with the computer's connection. I checked the connection settings. I facepalmed at the fact that the computer was not connected to any Wi-Fi. All of the networks were locked with WEP security, so I asked the man to look for the passcode. He took a long time, so I decided to get on my laptop for a bit. Then, all of a sudden, a network appeared that had no security. Of course, me, stricken with the agony of boredom, I logged on to the network. I started going on the web, looking at articles and files, when my computer began to freeze a bit. I found this strange. My laptop never froze before. As time progressed, it froze more and more frequently, with longer durations each time. Eventually, the browser crashed. As I was about to reboot my computer, a new browser started up, with a chat box in the middle. A random user logged on. He began typing, "This is your last warning. Leave this network now." At the time, I thought it was just a program built into this network to keep hackers away, so I paid no attention to it. It began typing again, "This is your final warning. Leave now." At this point, I am quite impressed with the program. After all, it was well made. I could hardly tell it was a program. It wrote again, "Leave now, or else." I still don't know why I did this, but I decided to taunt it. I replied to it, "Or what?" The user typed, "I will make your life hell." I laughed it off. Now this program really had my respect. It was very entertaining. "This is good security," I wrote in the box. "I warned you," the man wrote. He then proceeded to write my name. This is when I began to get scared. I didn't tell him my name. "How do you know my name?" I typed. Instead of answering my question, he proceeded to name my personal information. My address, credit card numbers, phone number, social media account. These all were correct. Shocked out of my mind, I sat there in complete silence. Eventually, the man typed again, "Since you refuse to leave, you will see hell." The chat box disappeared. At this point, I'm rapidly pushing the disconnect button. It's not responding. The option to exit the browser and power off my computer are also disabled. As I look on the screen, I am filled with utter terror. I saw things humans should not see. I saw murder, demonic sacrifice, rape, innocent babies being killed, and many more. At the end of the video, I vomited. I just couldn't take any more of this. The chat box reappears. "For the last time, leave now," he wrote. I quickly shut off my computer and disconnect from the network. I don't tell the owner about this, as it would just make things worse. The owner came back and got connected to the wireless network. I rushed out of there as soon as possible. I am lucky I didn't hear anything of it since.
I started browsing the deep web just for fun. I thought it would be a place where I could laugh at all the drugs and porn. Unfortunately, I was wrong. I went on the deep wiki and started browsing the page and links. Most of the links were just to drugs and illegal firearm sites formatted like eBay. I found it amusing that people would actually go on these sites and use it. After a while, I ran across a link that I've never seen before, and it looked a bit strange. So I just clicked on it and hoped for the best. I would soon come to regret this decision. It was linked to a site that had a bunch of pictures of humans being brutally mutilated. At the very least, I could describe it as extremely disturbing. I saw the site description and clicked on it. The site's logo was, "Not everyone was created equal. We're here to prove it." I was appalled by this. I thought whoever made this site was a sick psychopath. The description of the site continued. "We apply experiments of different variety and intensity to different people. Many are homeless civilians who wouldn't fare much better out there than in here. We are doing this for mankind." At this point, I'm extremely mad, and my rage is slowly beginning to build up. How could they do this to these people? After a while, I finally worked up the nerve to click on one of the pictures to look at the experiment and the result, and one I found especially sick and perverse. The scientists had injected bleach into the womb of a 20-something-year-old woman, who they made another test subject to impregnate her. They found that the baby died after 5 days of exposure. I see other pictures of experiments. It was horrifying to say the least. I kept clicking and viewing other experiments. Each one was worse than the last. Eventually, I saw a whole page dedicated to infants and toddlers, having experiments done on them. I got to the bottom of the page. The suffering that these people had to go through, that's something no human should either experience or witness. As I looked at the screen in complete horror, a chat box appears. "Hello, are you enjoying this site?" I replied to the random person that just messaged me, "Who are you?" Then he replies to me, "I'm the creator of this site. Don't you find this just interesting?" At this point, I'm getting extremely angry. This man is threatening human life like some kind of animal. It was truly sick and depraved. I replied to the man, "This site is sick. How could you do this to someone?" He replies, "This is for the good of mankind. I'm just seeing what I can prove." I'm enraged. My head isn't thinking straight. I replied again, and this time I was mad and full of anger. Without thinking, I posted something really stupid. "You're a sick bastard. I'm reporting you to the police." A brief pause follows my comment. He writes, "Your name is Michael, and you live in Massachusetts." I was stunned because the information was correct. I didn't know why I didn't just close the browser, but I replied, "No, you're wrong." He then proceeded to write down my address. It was the correct address. Then he wrote another message to me. "Have a nice day." I closed the browser and slammed my laptop shut. I then called the police, and I even told my parents. The cops asked if they could see my computer to have the URL and shut it down. Unfortunately, Tor does not save your browsing history, so I couldn't even help the cops in shutting the website down. The cops said that they strongly recommend that we moved. Luckily, this happened around the time that we were planning on moving anyways. Our old house was sold quickly, and we moved to a new house. I kept apologizing to my parents because I felt horrible about it. I still don't know if this guy was bluffing or not, but still, I didn't want to take the chance that he wasn't.
Thank you for watching. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, it can happen to anybody, including you. Sweet dreams.